Hello everyone and welcome to beingDev. Today we'll be covering Sass, a CSS preprocessor. So let's begin. These are the topics that we'll be covering today. Before starting this, let's discuss what is Sass and what is SCSS. Sass and SCSS both are the extension for Sass only, but SCSS is the newer version of Sass. The difference between both is in Sass you don't use braces and semicolons etc. But in SCSS you use those semicolons and braces. Why that means why they have included those semicolons and braces in the latest version is to make CSS backward compatible with SCSS. Now every CSS, every valid CSS file is a valid SCSS file, but it is not a valid Sass file. Valid CSS is valid SCSS. Valid CSS file is not a valid Sass file. Okay, so let's begin. See, just to clarify, Sass or SCSS is, it has added nothing new to the CSS. CSS is basic and the same as we use, means we will be using those things that we use commonly only. Okay, but it has added some features like we can use single line comments, and then we can import other SCSS files, we can use mixins, variables, functions, loops, and many more. So we create our SCSS file using all these, and when that is being used by the HTML page, it firstly has to be converted into CSS. For that conversion, it depends, means what people use. Some people use tools like Grunt that automatically converts your SCSS files to CSS. Otherwise there are other tools as well. For example, one of them is Koala, Koala, right? And then in this tutorial I'll be using CodePen and inside of that only I'll be converting Sass SCSS to CSS. I might use Sass while pronunciation, but please remember we are using SCSS only. This is the file that I have already created to show you guys. Firstly, if you're using CodePen for the first time, you'll need to select SCSS from here, or if you want to use any other preprocessor, and then you can code your SCSS over here. Okay, and then one more thing, let's use the same URL and let's say SCSS. Now this is the SCSS file that I have written. Okay, one thing more that you can do is copy and let's open CSS file. Now this will show the converted CSS file. Okay, let's open it in debug mode and then we'll have the page over here. Okay, now let's begin. As I said, so this is the single line command that we can use using Sass, that is SCSS. Okay, and then import is a very important and means it's so easy to use. What it does is, let's say you have two CSS files. Okay, and usually what we do is we include both 2 or maybe 3 CSS files in our HTML by using multiple link tags. Okay, but in this case what we can do is we can include the other CSS files into one only. What it will do is, it will, while compiling to CSS, it will add that file first into the same file, and then let's say 3 files are there, it will add 3 files in the order into the same file, and then it will convert it into CSS, and then that CSS file will be sent over the network. So you will have only one network request despite of having 3 or 4 network requests. Okay, so that is the importance of import. In this case, what we are using is just we are setting the background. If you open this file is also on CodePen only. Both links for both these CodePens will be in the description. So this is what we have written in this file, just the background and color. Yes. Okay, now so single line comment and then importing means you can use it to differentiate the parts of your CSS as well. Let's say for buttons you are making a different CSS file, for paragraphs you are making a different CSS file, and then you can include it into one. Okay, and third feature is that we can nest things. Firstly, we can use variables. Like here we can define a variable using dollar and then variable name and then its value. Okay, and then whenever we will be using that variable name, it will be used as the variable value. Okay, let's see the CSS of this. This is Sass. I guess this is the CSS. Yes. So you see where this is hover. Okay, we are using nesting as well. That means our inner selector is being nested under button. So what it will do is button and then hover and then this value. See, button, hover, and then this value. The variable value is red. That is what is taken by CSS. Okay, so in variables you can use boolean, color, string, lists, null, and then number. Will come to some of them later on. You need to be careful while using nesting. Why? Because if you nest too much, then it will be hard for you to debug later on. Interpolation. Don't get intimidated by this word. It is not at all difficult. It just means that using the variable name as a property or in a selector. Okay, so you can use it in a selector like this. Means you need to use hash, then curly braces. Keep in mind these are curly braces. Okay, and then as a property as well. H1 property, let's say I decrease it by 5. See the changes? H1 is moved a little high. Defining a mixin. Yes, mixins are kind of a reusable code. Means let's say I'm defining, let's say second button, or let's say I'm defining submit button, a particular style for submit button. Okay, and then in whichever button I need that styling, I can use it like this. We can pass arguments as well, but it can be without arguments also. Let's see, we are using it like this. Blue, and then I don't think we need to use braces. See, in mixin there the boundary is blue. Okay, then you can add more CSS over here as well. Okay, and then there's placeholder available to us. Placeholder is also a similar thing like mixin, but the difference between two is, let's say we are using let's say we have a placeholder named btn. Okay, and we have applied to, let's say, multiple styles. Let's say I'm using another class, okay, and then I'm defining a mixin, not defining, using the mixin. Okay, so what it will do is, let's go back and refresh it. What it will do is, see, it will use it in one place, but in case of mixin it will not happen. If at the same place we would have used mixin, then what would have happened is, for button 2 there will be different definition. For beingDev there will be a different definition. It will not be in one place. Okay, and be careful when you use placeholder as well, because if you use it at a number of times, then this line will go a long way. It will increase and increase. Okay, and second difference is, in mixins we can pass arguments, but in placeholders we can't. Okay, next is functions. Functions means, firstly let's discuss what's the difference between a function and a mixin. In function you return a value, in mixin you define properties. Okay, so this is a double function that I have defined. You can do anything, you can calculate percentages, you can do a lot of things. When it comes to responsive web designing, this is mainly used to convert your pixel values into percentage values. Okay, you can search for that. And this is a container that I have defined over here. This is the container for function. Okay, this is the container, and then I have given a background and then width, and then I have called a function over here with 200. Okay, so that 200 will be passed, and remember you need to use at before return, and the return value, that is 400, will be returned, will be the width of the container. Okay, and one more thing, that you can use function, and that you can return function inside of another function. That means you can nest functions as well, and that function will be returning some value, and you can use that value. Okay, means you can do complex logic. I have just defined a basic. You can do whatever you want, whatever calculations, and then at the end you will need to return a value. Okay, and then if is there, let's say we have a span, and then in that we have used if. Inside of that we are comparing two variables. One is IFF, and then one is then this is the other one. If that comes out to be true, the color will be red. Explaining if. See the span, and here the color is red. Okay, let's change it to blue. See, it has changed to blue. Explaining if. Okay, and you can use these operators: double equals to, less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. Then you have list. Firstly, when I heard of list, I thought it would be kind of an array, but you just need to give your values like this: no comma, no square brackets, nothing, and it will define the list. And then you can use each to iterate through that list. Okay, and here, see, I'm using name in the selector and name in the property value as well. So if you check its CSS, I'll show you, it looks awesome. See, see over here, author Josh, and then author name, author Josh, and then here the value of URL is also changed. Okay, and then the use of for. Let's say in that list only. No, this is another class, another list class that I have defined, and in that we are iterating for I for value from 1 to 5, and for that value it will iterate, and here is the result. See, what I have done is I have defined a color, and then I am lightening that color with the value of I by multiplying. So here is the result. Here is first, and then second, third, fourth. You can see the color difference. Okay, and next is while. You can use while as well. You can give a condition, and inside while you'll need to increment that condition and whatever you want to do. Then you can mention default arguments in mixins, in wherever you want to. Over here, as we have mentioned, submit to be false. So if we are not passing any second argument while calling this mixin, then it will be taken as false, and color decoration underline will not be there. See, default argument, it is false. And now if I, let's say, pass true, you see here the underline. This is how it works. And then there are arithmetic functions like round, seal, floor, absolute, minimum, maximum, percentage. I hope you know about this function. If don't, you can check it out online. We have lighten function, saturate, mix, grayscale, invert, complement. These functions are mostly used with colors. Lighten means if you are passing any color value and then you are mentioning the percentage by which you want to lighten it, it will do it. Then saturate is there, and then difference between complement and invert means that is a very nice doubt that I had some time back. What you can do is you can just search it like difference between complement and invert in Stack Overflow, and it will show you. You'll be happy to see that difference, believe me. That's all for today. Means Sass is not finished yet. I'll make another video on Sass.